Alice Springs, population 25,000. Nearest beach, about 1,200 kilometers away. Nearest major city, also about 1,200 kilometers. Take your pick, Darwin or Adelaide. That's a day's drive through open desert just to hit traffic. Welcome to the heart of the Australian outback. Or, as it sometimes feels, the middle of absolutely nowhere. It's a town so remote that even Google Maps occasionally looks confused. If you plop down a functioning society in a Mars simulator and gave it a Woolies, a Macca's, and suspiciously decent 4G coverage, you'd basically have Alice Springs. And the wildest part? It works. There's a Coles, a KFC that once launched a very real campaign for a Michelin star, and even a thriving tourism industry, despite the fact that Uluru is a 5-hour drive away in the middle of blistering heat. You can do your grocery shopping, grab a Zinger box, and book a camel tour, all without leaving town. But let's be honest, building a working town in a place with no coastline, extreme heat, and a neighborhood that spans literal deserts and ancient rock formations shouldn't work. It should be a logistical nightmare, and yet, it's not. So, how exactly does Alice Springs pull off the impossible? How do you run a town when your nearest neighbor is basically a sand dune? Let's talk about logistics, Outback style. Let's start with the real MVPs of Outback logistics, road trains. If you've never seen one, imagine a regular truck. Now stretch it out until it's longer than a suburban cul-de-sac and give it the energy of a Mad Max character with a delivery deadline. That's a road train. These beasts of burden are basically semi-trailers that said, one trailer. Cute. So they slap on 2, 3, sometimes even 4 trailers and hit the road. Fully loaded, they can stretch over 50 meters long. That's about half a football field of frozen peas, toilet paper, and Coca-Cola thundering down the highway at 100 kilometers per hour. They run along the Stuart Highway, a nearly 3,000 kilometer strip of tarmac slicing through the spine of Australia, connecting Darwin in the north to Adelaide in the south, with Alice Springs as the dusty dot right in the middle. It's Australia's version of the I-95. If the I-95 were surrounded by red dirt, 0 billboards, and the occasional confused emu. And when a road train breaks down in the middle of nowhere, there's no tow truck coming in 15 minutes. This is where bush mechanics come in. People who can fix an axle with a crowbar, duct tape, and blind optimism. Honestly, they could probably MacGyver a new gearbox out of a wheelbarrow and a tin of Milo. Without these steel giants and the teams behind them, Alice Springs would grind to a halt. No milk, no bread, no KFC chicken. Civilization would collapse by Wednesday. You'd expect the lettuce to arrive as a soggy green memory and the bananas to have aged into banana bread by the time they hit the shelves. But somehow, the system works. These stores don't just exist. They run like clockwork. Thanks to a tightly choreographed ballet of refrigerated road trains, fly-in freight, and painstaking logistics, the shelves are regularly restocked with everything from fresh produce to discount Tim Tams. Deliveries are often timed down to the hour because when your store is 1,500 kilometers from the next cold storage depot, there's not much margin for error. If a shipment's delayed, it's not just an inconvenience, it's a full-blown crisis. One wrong move, and someone's storming customer service because their frozen lasagna didn't make it in time for lazy Tuesday dinner. And in a town this remote, missing lasagna is basically grounds for social unrest. What's even more impressive? Alice's supermarkets stock pretty much everything you'd find in a capital city. Fresh meat, dairy, imported cheeses, you name it. The only thing they might not have is like artisanal oat milk hand-pressed by surfers in Byron Bay. That might take a few extra days, or a miracle. Even McDonald's has its own logistical puzzle. Frozen Big Mac patties, chicken nuggets, sauces, And even packaging are trucked in from processing plants often located in cities at least 1,000 kilometers away. That means someone is driving through the desert with a trailer full of Macca's meat, fries, and napkins, probably reconsidering their career choices somewhere near Tennant Creek. Still, the fact that you can stroll into a McDonald's in the middle of Australia and order the exact same burger you'd get in Sydney is nothing short of a modern miracle. Logistics meet fast food. Fast food meet the Outback. Now, let's talk about the most ambitious fried chicken outlet in human history. In 2023, a man named Sam Edelman, who runs the Alice Springs KFC, launched a cheeky campaign to get a Michelin star for his restaurant. That's right, a Michelin star. For KFC, in the desert. Was it satire? Maybe. Was it brilliant marketing? Definitely. Did he get the star? Of course not. But he did get international attention and a lot of customers. And to be fair, if you can deliver consistent crispy chicken in a town where 47 degrees Celsius days are considered a bit warm, maybe you do deserve some kind of award. Logistics in Alice Springs isn't just about fast food and weekly shops. Food security is a real issue for the surrounding remote communities. To help, the government backed a $13.5 million food warehouse redevelopment that supports over 100 stores across 1.4 million square kilometers. That's an area larger than France. One distribution hub to feed a mini continent. There's also a rising push for local food production, with community gardens, sustainable agriculture, and permaculture programs backed by groups like ALEC, Arid Lands Environment Center. Because nothing says sustainable future like growing kale in red desert dust. Now, you might be wondering, if this place is so isolated, why do people come here? 2 words, Uluru and tourism. Alice Springs isn't just a functioning desert town, it's also the unofficial base camp for millions of tourists making the pilgrimage to the Red Center's big-ticket natural wonders. We're talking about Uluru, Karajuta, and the West McDonnell Ranges. Landscapes so surreal, they look like someone forgot to turn off the Instagram filters. And Alice is perfectly placed, smack dab in the middle of it all, like the world's driest Airbnb host. These iconic landmarks are connected by the Red Center Way, an 835-kilometer scenic loop that takes you through shimmering deserts, ancient rock formations, ghost gums, and the occasional rogue dingo giving you side-eye. There's beauty, there's silence, and, every now and then, there's a patch of reception strong enough to post a story before it vanishes into the digital void. Of course, tourism is big business here. Alice acts as the launchpad for guided tours, scenic flights, glamping experiences, and spiritual retreats where people pay a premium to stare at a rock in silence. To keep this machine running, the government has been quietly sealing more remote roads, like the Merini Loop, to make them accessible for your average rental car, not just the hardcore 4-wheel drive crowd with suspension envy. Because while tourists love the idea of adventure, most draw the line at getting bogged in red sand with no phone signal, no snacks, and a GPS that says, good luck. This kind of infrastructure investment isn't just for convenience, it's survival. A broken down hire car in the Outback isn't quirky, it's a heat stroke waiting to happen. So sealing these routes not only boosts tourism, it keeps everyone safer, and the local mechanics slightly less busy pulling French backpackers out of dry creek beds. In short, Alice Springs makes the impossible tourist experience possible. You get all the awe of the Australian Outback without having to wrestle your rental Camry out of the Spinifex. So there you have it. Alice Springs, the town that really shouldn't work, but somehow does. Through monster-sized road trains, razor-sharp logistics, and a stubborn refusal to be outdone by geography, Alice Springs manages to serve up hot McNuggets, fresh produce, and breathtaking Outback adventures. All while sitting in the middle of a desert that wants everyone dead. It's a place where Big Macs travel farther than most Australians do in a year, where KFC once aimed for a Michelin star, and where the local Woolies is a small miracle of chilled supply chain wizardry. And beyond the shops and chicken, it's the logistical engine behind one of Australia's most iconic tourist regions, quietly keeping the red centre spinning. So next time you look at a map and see Alice Springs floating in a sea of nothing, remember, that little dot is not just surviving, it's thriving. With aircon, petrol, and just enough Wi-Fi to post about it. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and let us know in the comments what you thought of this episode. We promise, staying updated on our videos doesn't require a 3,000-kilometer road train or a Wi-Fi signal stronger than a desert mirage. Just click that bell icon and you'll be more connected than most of the Outback. Until next time, stay curious and maybe appreciate your local supermarket just a little bit more.